My name is Ani Cash, and my pronouns are she and her. I am the program manager for the Rethink Waste project in Bend, Oregon. Rethink Waste project aims to educate folks around Deschutes County on issues relating to waste, programs, updates, incentives, events. I offer free presentations to any group in the county. We do a lot of stuff, we spend a lot of time tabling at events and giving out educational materials, and usually we do 5 to 6 repair cafes each year, probably not this year though, and just generally focusing on the 3 R's of reduce, reuse, and recycle. But I'm really more interested now in composting and food waste because it's a process that is already in place. It's already exists in a lot of municipalities. It's even an option for you to get compost picked up. It's not a developing industry. But Rethink Waste Project is a program of the Environmental Center. Really briefly, we are an educational nonprofit working to embed sustainability into everyday life of Central Oregon. We have other programs outside of waste, including energy and youth education as well. And I have to give a shout out to my sponsors. I'm mainly funded by the Deschutes County Department of Solid Waste, but I also get some money from our haulers. Bend, Oregon. If you aren't familiar with us, there we are in the middle of Deschutes County. We are the 3rd fastest growing city in the United States. Here on the east side of the Cascades. If you've never been here, we have a high desert climate. We have a population, I just heard this, someone told me this morning, our population is now 100,000 people in city limits. Something like an average of 10 people move here per day. So it is growing really rapidly. Maybe that's because of our 24 breweries, our 4 cideries, and our 6 distilleries inside of the county. Our county, we have somewhere around 200,000 people. So half of them do live within city limits. Also, we have great skiing and mountain biking and excellent weather. So yeah, all of these people, right, are moving to Deschutes County. I'm not from here. Most of the people I spend my time with here are also not from here originally. So the reason I bring this up is people are bringing practices with them from all corners of the nation, especially from California. There are a lot of people moving here from Portland, but also from across the globe. And because of that influx, I think it's a good opportunity for us to educate on entry, sort of like this is how we're doing it here. This is how it's done here in Deschutes County. And another reason I bring up that population influx is because we have 1 landfill here in Deschutes County, not landfill. That landfill is projected to be full by 2029. So that's less than a decade away at this point. When we figured that out, we developed a solid waste advisory committee, which passed a plan deciding to site and build a new in-county landfill, which is great because if we were to use other landfills in the area, the closest being in the Columbia River Gorge, then that would require over 2 million truck miles per year, which is a huge carbon footprint. So again, talking about that influx of people, you can see in this graph, this is the waste stream over time, the gray being the total waste generated, and this peak here is just before our little recession. And so generally that's kind of a silver lining of the recession is just less waste generated. And generally, we are producing more waste per year. But the good news is that we're also recovering an increasing amount of waste. So that coincides with partly with the influx of people, but also with the just general mindset of people moving into the county. 42% of our landfill is made up of organic material. So this is the 2018 waste composition of our landfill. And moving along right now. So the green slice of the pie here is the organic 42% of our landfill. The blue slice here is just food waste. So, oh, that works a lot better. So, so looking at the tonnage, the entire bar is a little bit more than 100,000 tons of waste. And of the organics, 67,000 tons ends up in the landfill. Only 35% or 35 36,000 tons gets recycled. So approximately a third. And then also I wanted to point your attention to this bottom line, food. 41,000 tons ends up going into the landfill. So compost, it's a closed loop idea in itself that was devised by nature. Compost is a mixture of decayed organic material that everyone has, everyone eats, right? Everyone produces some kind of yard debris waste that's mixed with other ingredients like loam and so other inorganic materials as well, and it's used as a growing medium. So making compost requires moisture, oxygen, and heat, but sometimes that is given to the material to produce the compost. But when you take that food waste and the compost and organic material and you put it into the landfill, it breaks down into methane, which is a greenhouse gas that's 30 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So again, moving back to everyone moving to Bend, Oregon, and Deschutes counties, we have these breweries, restaurants, grocery stores, households, farms, just general growing population, and that represents a lot of wasted food. But if we can get people to buy into the idea of composting, like the majority of you already do, then we can sort of make sure that we take that food waste and organic material out of the landfill and keep it in a loop. If you're familiar with this book, Drawdown, from Paul Hawken, he notes that 8% of anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions, 8% come from food waste alone. And that, I think, does not receive enough attention considering how big of a slice of the pie that really is, compared with 2.5% attributed to airplane travel, 8% to food waste. So it is listed as third on the most impactful action that we can take to reduce greenhouse gases. So again, this idea of composting, it's an easy, simple, closed loop system that was designed by nature. We in Deschutes County do have a composting system set up over at our landfill, and people can participate as a business, but also as a household. And now within city limits, you can put all of your wasted food in our cart. That's a brand new service that started happening very recently. So the things that we really need to focus on in this idea of keeping this a closed loop system is reducing wasted food in general and teaching people how to do it, encouraging businesses and our households to sign up for compost or do it in their backyard. And then in the end, to buy local compost and keep it local instead of buying stuff from Ace Hardware that comes from across the country, because it's something that can be provided within our county and created within our county. And that's all I've got.